So hi everybody, thank you ever so much for attending the automotive webinar today. Firstly, just to introduce myself, my name is Samantha Upton and I work for City&Guilds as a Digital Solutions Manager. I'm actually the Digital Solutions Manager for the North of England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, and my colleague Simon Berry covers the South of England and also Wales. We are here as a team to support you in terms of the implementation and training of these digital systems, as well as to do demonstrations as well, like we're going to go through today. In addition to myself on the webinar today, I also have my colleague Michael MacArthur, who is a direct sales executive, and he is going to go through the automotive e-learning package. So, just to introduce City&Guilds digital technology, we're highly investing in teaching and learning resources at the moment for a number of reasons really. Firstly, to ensure that we assist in terms of student engagement and motivation. A lot of our systems have a lot of video content in there, quizzes, they're really interactive and engaging. But ultimately, the learner can actually progress at their own pace. So these systems, these digital systems, allow the learner to log in anytime, anywhere, on most forms of devices through using the internet. So ultimately, they can really drive their own learning. Some of the systems that we have fluctuate by level. By units, lots of different content within there, but as a tutor you will be able to customize the level and really deliver a blended learning approach to those learners. We then have the systems are all really trackable as well, so you can pull reports off all of our systems to check that your learners are actually engaging with the programs. So today, obviously, we're going to go through the automotive e-learning as well as the learning assistant for automotive. However, we do have lots of other webinars taking place this week. We have webinars for Learning Assistant, for SkillZone, which is our newest platform, which helps a learner to build the workplace skills needed for employment. We have eFunctional Skills, which is our Maths, English and ICT program, which takes a learner from initial assessment through to exam success. We have Smart Screen, which we're going to touch on a little bit today, but in addition we also have our bookstore where we've got lots of textbooks and logbooks, and we also have some ebooks as well. Okay, so hopefully you can see we've got a really wide range of learning materials. So this slide here is just to talk you through our support offer. Obviously I introduced myself and Simon Berry as well at the beginning of the webinar. The both of us are responsible for actually supporting you and getting the most out of these digital systems. So we're actually here to train you and your staff to develop you in using the system to ensure that you are truly embedding that within your organisation. In addition to the teaching and learning resources that I've taught you through today, we also have a digital consultancy offer. So if you want to go a step further and you actually want a CPD event for your staff internally on using digital technology, then feel free to contact direct sales at cityandguilds.com and they can give you some more information on that. So as part of the on-programme offer for the apprenticeship for the motor vehicle service and maintenance technician for light vehicle, we actually have a number of things included within that. So we have the e-portfolio, the learning assistant, which I'm going to go through with you today, the training manual. Now you could either have that as a paper-based copy. Alternatively, the reason that I'm going to show you learning assistant today is we've actually built the training manual into the e-portfolio. And then we also have our virtual learning. We've worked in conjunction with an organisation called Electude to develop the automotive e-learning resources, which Michael's going to go through in a bit. And then in addition, we also have Smart Screen, which has lots of schemes of work, which are actually signposted to the virtual learning materials and workplace behaviours for trainers to facilitate the delivery of the apprenticeship during the on-programme phase. Okay. So in terms of that training manual, in terms of our on-programme offer, we have built a training manual for all your on-programme tasks. The apprentice can receive a hard copy of their 3-year training plan. However, like I said, we have actually built that into Learning Assistant so that you can keep everything online. The activities are repeated over a number of recommended tasks, giving the apprentice the opportunity to improve their technical skills and develop the specific soft skills and behaviours expected by employers. So this is the home page of Learning Assistant. You can see at the bottom there that we are directing you towards a YouTube video. Should you wish to watch that, feel free to watch that at your own leisure. That will give you a little bit of an insight into the system as well. So in terms of our virtual learning, which is our automotive e-learning program that's actually based on the Smart Screen platform, the idea of this is it's, you know, time to flip the classroom. So ultimately the learner can do a lot of their work prior to walking into that classroom environment. You know, the learning can be, you know, quite a lot of fun. You know, ultimately we use a lot of videos, e-learning, there's quizzes, so it's really quite interactive, and like we said earlier, the learner can access that anytime, anywhere on most forms of devices as long as they've got an internet connection. So like we said, if you want any more information, please feel free to contact digital sales at cityandguilds.com or call them on the number 01924 206 709. Okay, so I'm now going to drop into Learning Assistant itself. So as you can see, this is the Learning Assistant homepage. Learning Assistant is our e-portfolio, and the idea is that it, you know, with having everything online, it allows you to maximise that productivity, hopefully increase profitability because it cuts down on the amount of you know, travel time, but ultimately everything is visible. So you know, you can have employers on this system who have read-only access to their candidates. You have the you know, the training provider or the college, and you also have the learner as well, so everyone can gain access to that learner portfolio anytime, anywhere, again on any form of device. So just to show you what the learner training manual will actually now look like in Learning Assistant, and if you do want to know more about the inner workings of Learning Assistant, you know, the kind of quality aspect that sits behind it, the benefits, the contact diary, how to upload evidence, then you can always join our Learning Assistant webinars, which will be later on in the week with my colleague Simon Berry, who will talk you through that in full detail. But just to show you what a portfolio would look like for the light vehicle, if I come in and click on the automotive learner here, you can see this takes me into a section where it says course. So this is the learner's course folder. So, you know, this is that, you know, probably Arch lever file, which if you have delivered on paper, this is where you'd actually store all of that evidence. As you can see, we also have an evidence folder, a registration page, contact diary, the ability for reviews and exam booking as well. Learning Assistant now does have a connection between Walled Garden and Evolve, which is great because you're actually able to book those Evolve exams through the Learning Assistant platform, and the result from that exam will actually fire back and sit on the system, which is really nice. If I scroll down, you'll notice that you know, this is exactly the same as it looks for the training manual. You've got training towards Gateway 1. You've got your Gateway 1 multiple choice test, practical skills tests, soft skills and behaviours, and then we go on to Gateway 2. And as you can see, what we've done is we've created different tasks for each of those gateways. Okay, so ultimately it gives you something to, you know, to follow as part of that on-programme delivery. If I come in and let's say, for example, we were going to start delivering G1.9 task 9, the vehicle diagnostic computer, to that learner, we come in and click on release. By releasing that particular task, that will actually go through to the learner. The learner will be able to see it on their learning assistant platform, and they will then be able to see the information for that task. So if I come in here and click on this, you can see that first of all it outlines what the learner must do within that task. Further down you can see we've already built in some resources. So we've got the Gateway 1 task mapping. So if I just open this up, this is assessment guidance, so the learner wouldn't actually see this. But what's really nice is we keep everything stored in the tutor platform. We also have tools and equipment, which, as you can see here, is learner guidance. So it is something that the learner will actually see on their system. Okay, so it gives them an overview of the tools and equipment that they'll actually need for Gateway 1. But further down, the one thing I really like about this system is you can keep absolutely everything in one place. So if we come to this section that says recording forms, you can see that we've actually got a checklist for you. So similar to as you would on paper, where you go through and tick that you'd witness the learner doing each of the sections within that tasks, you would do exactly the same in here. You can type in these boxes. Okay. I'll just scroll down. Okay, you would just fill in each one of those. You can complete the bit at the bottom, and then ultimately all you do is click save and submit. Okay, or save for later if the learner doesn't complete that task all in one go. What then happens is it automatically produces a PDF. So if I just come in and click on that, as you can see here, it's produced a PDF explaining which of the tasks have actually been met by that learner. Okay, now a lot of centres have asked me is, okay, that's absolutely brilliant, but can we also upload other supporting evidence? Of course you can. Learning Assistant allows you to upload lots of different types of digital evidence, from Word documents through to audio, through to video. For the audio, you can upload up to a 60-minute audio file, and that is per piece of evidence. And then for a video, you're looking at about 20 to 30 minutes for a video. But again, that's per piece of evidence. So what we could actually do is come to Open Evidence Wizard, come to upload a file, and then all we would do is browse for that file on our computer, click upload, and that would simply be stored under where the PDF sits here. Okay, so you can have all of your supporting evidence all in one go. Now in the evidence folder, we actually give you the ability to showcase evidence as well. So for the best of the learner's evidence, you can actually click on this button and that will be the evidence that is showcased. Okay. So that's a little bit about the Learning Assistant offer in terms of what we have for the light vehicle. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Michael, who is actually going to take you through the smart screen.
Thank you, Samantha. Hello everyone. So as Samantha mentioned, I'm Michael MacArthur, Direct Sales Executive in the Direct team here in Wakefield. I'm just going to cover today the smart screen very briefly and also the e-learning for the automotive in a lot more depth. So as you can see, this is the smart screen website. Some of you may be up to date with it. If you're not, you can find it at smartscreen.co.uk, and then just enter your individual login details to gain access to the qualifications that your centre may have at the moment. So as you can see from here, this would cover all of the smart screen that's contained within automotive currently. All of these would contain the likes of worksheets, lesson plans, sample plans, all really to help aid delivery for your individual courses or qualifications, all of which come in sort of PDF form, Word document form, and all are downloadable and printable as well for you, and very convenient to have really to hand. So I will cover the e-learning, as I've mentioned, in a bit more depth. So I'll come into the e-learning, which will be found in here once that loads up for me. So here would be the e-learning, specifically obviously in this case for the 4290, but it is covered across the likes of 9301 as well. So I'll just look at this one. If anyone needs any help or any assistance going forward, as Samantha mentioned earlier, if you just pop an email over to digitalsales@cityandguilds.com, myself or a colleague of mine will be happy to pick it up and run through that with you going forward as well. So within this one, some of the benefits of the e-learning that I've found and some of my centres have found in the past is obviously it puts the tutor in control, and it also helps them actively engage and stimulate the learners in a bit more of an unconventional way, a bit more of an electronic and interactive way. It's great for the likes of homework assignments if you want to assign your learners any homework from here, any tasks to complete for the next session. It also visually demonstrates the inner workings of the components without having to use obviously a physical vehicle, which will again help in cost and sort of having to use materials over the course of time. They're all mapped directly to the City and Guilds qualifications, covering all of the learning outcomes that you'd expect as well, all of which contain the latest developments in automotive technology. You can also do the likes of real-time reporting, so you can pull reports from here just to see which of your learners have completed the work that you've set them and when they may have done that, and sort of the amount of time they've taken to do that as well. It'll also help the learners learn and retain more than sort of other methods, maybe conventional methods such as textbooks or printable worksheets and that sort of thing. And it also allows the virtual practice on vehicles, again to help reduce costs, so you're not having to go through a number of vehicles in every session. So I will cover one of the units today just to give you an idea, and I'll also cover the engine management system or simulations at the end as well. So if we quickly look into unit 154. So within here you've got all of the learning outcomes for unit 154. All of the units also contain a tutor guidance PDF at this top, which I will just open to give you an idea of what's contained within that. So within each of the tutor guidance PDFs, this would cover the likes of the outcome for that unit, the assessment criteria, and also the name of the e-learning modules that would be mapped to that unit. So just to give you an idea of that. So if I go into learning objective 1, this will be covering the vehicle steering, suspension systems and how they would operate. Again, all of this can be used electronically as long as you've got the internet connection, so the likes of tablets, smartphones, laptops, PCs. Again, it can be used independently by a learner, or it's really good to pop up on a whiteboard in a classroom session as well. So I do have centres who use it both ways, just depending on the way that they would teach their learners at that time. So if I look into the steering systems, first of all, again, as you can see here, it's got all of the different units covered within each one. If I quickly jump into steering systems, just to give you an idea of what to expect. Another individual pop-up window will appear. So you'll have a series of questions. a little bit of a blurb at the top as to what the unit covers, and then below that you'll have the questions and you'll have the potential answers below that. A lot of times the potential answer will be contained somewhere within the blurb at the top, so it's a good way of sort of checking if the learners read through the blurb at the top and sort of taken it in, understood what it means. And again, as you can see here, sort of in contradiction to textbooks and that sort of thing, it's very interactive. I'm holding the steering wheel, turning the wheels. A lot of you guys on this webinar will have a better understanding of what all this means than we would here. So, obviously with you all being professionals and that whatnot, so if you click on one of the answers, it'll tell you sort of the question and what to expect. So you can turn the wheel and it'll tell you exactly what's shown on there. If I come out there, I'll go to learning outcome 2. This is all about the braking systems. Just to mention as well, if you scroll to the bottom of each learning objectives in the box contained at the bottom of each one, that will contain sort of duplicate units that may be covered in duplicate outcomes or objectives that will be contained in a different unit, so there's no need to sort of cover them again in a further session. So this one back up here, learning objective 2, covering the light vehicle braking systems and how they would operate. Again, these are all very interactive. You know, they sort of keep the learner engaged, hopefully. Bit more, what we like to call it gamification, so a bit more like a, I don't know, game like they might play at home, just to help keep them engaged as well. So we'll look at the brake pedal force for learning objective 2, which is quite a good one to cover. Let's scroll to it. This one, once it's up as well. So we'll enter into that one. Again, once your learners run their way through any work that they've been set, they will then automatically generate a report that can be pulled by yourselves just to check how much of it they've done, exactly when they did it, and the outcomes of that as well. So again, if I press on the brake pedal here, it will show me exactly what happens within the disc brake or the inner workings of the wheel. Again, just to give a visual representation of what would be happening. Again, the blurb at the top, the question below, and the possible multiple choice answers that can be given. I won't embarrass myself by running through those too much, but I'll just give you an idea. So it'll give me exactly a little bit of feedback saying I've correctly answered 2 out of 3 of the statements. So if I were to go back and reread the blurb at the top, it will tell me exactly sort of where I went wrong on that. Learning objective 3 then. So on the steering systems and how they would operate, we'll quickly look into the tire radius section of that one. If I just go into that one as well. Again, all of these can be used in conjunction with the smart screen materials that will be found on here as well. So you'll have an all-round package. So as you can see on this one, it loads up. Again, visually representing the way that the brake fluid would operate and what would be happening within the vehicle as well. Finally then, learning objective 4, all about checking the vehicle once you've done everything and made sure it is in working condition. Just quickly look at the tire pressure gauge for that one. And again, as you saw there in the box below, that's any duplicate units that would be covered elsewhere, so you don't need to cover those again. So again, it is a sort of mixture of files. Obviously, a lot of them would come with voices and sounds and noises. As it's being done through the screen share, you might not necessarily hear those, but again, if you wanted to, I'll mention at the end where you can send an inquiry to digital sales to get a temporary login for this to have a go for yourselves. And at that point, obviously, we can run through anything else that you'd want to look into. So finally, I'll just quickly show you the EMS engine management simulations. It's probably the best or the most unique selling point of this program overall. So again, tutor guidance PDF, simulations 1 to 9, customer comments. So this will be any examples of any scenarios that any of your learners may have to encounter if they're to go into work in the likes of garages, repair shops, whatever it may be. So as an example, I'll just show you simulation 9. So the customer is given the following information regarding the vehicle. It's recently upped its fuel consumption, so the fuel consumption's increased. At tick over, the engine is very unstable and the engine does not start as well as it has done in the past. So as you can imagine, you'd put the simulation up on a whiteboard, or again, you can give them at home as homework. Just come into simulation 9 and you'll see exactly what I mean. So it'll bring up that particular simulation. So this vehicle that's going to load up in a second, this will have that particular problem with it, and it'll be up to the learner to decipher what the problem is exactly, and then what way they may need to get it fixed, and sort of the best methods that it might be to get it fixed. So let me just try that again. Sorry about that. Simulation 9. So once that loads up, I'll just quickly show you what I mean by that. Hopefully they're not running any sort of updates on Smart Screen. Sorry about that, I'll just double check a different one for you. It may be that they're just running a quick update. There we go. Third time lucky. There we go, perfect. So just if you can imagine that this will be simulation 9, you've got the vehicle in front of you. You've also got scrolling, so you can sort of zoom in, zoom out. You've got the tools on the left-hand side. So again, the multimeter, diagnostic systems. You can use all of these at their disposal to decipher what may be wrong with the vehicle at that time. Again, simulating real life, but not having to use up the cost of getting a vehicle there into the workshop. God forbid anyone were to, set the vehicle on fire. I've had that before. I've had centres telling me that it will help reduce costs in that regard as well, and sort of cut back on especially maybe time to and from there if it's off-site as well. So I will, again, leave that for yourselves if you wanted to have a look in a temporary login. Again, I'll just briefly touch on the reports. So in the reports, you can pull that for an individual or a group of learners. You can check what sort of units that they've done, any homework that you've set them, exactly when they've done it. You can export those as an Excel spreadsheet if you wanted to, hand it out, maybe some one-to-one sessions and that sort of thing. So I'll just touch upon, again, if you want a temporary login for this or smart screen materials or anything to do with the smart screen, best place to go to is digitalsales@cityandguilds.com, and either ask for myself, Michael, or one of my colleagues in the direct sales team, or give us a call 01924 206 709, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you. I'll pass you back to Samantha to wrap up. Thanks again.
Okay, everybody, so thank you very much for attending the webinar today. We will be sending out the recording afterwards, so if you do have any colleagues that have missed this webinar and wish to listen to it, then feel free to pass that recording on. Likewise, we said we can set up temporary logins for you for the e-learning. That's not a problem. And if anyone wants a thorough demonstration of Learning Assistant, again, if they email digital sales, and either myself or Simon will be in touch. Likewise, if you want to know more about our on-program offer, so if you haven't yet spoken to your account manager about the City&Guilds on-program and end assessment, then feel free to contact your account manager. Alternatively, again, if you are unsure who that is, feel free to email directsales@cityandguilds.com, and again, we'll sort that out for you. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed that, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.